This is 180 gallon reef tank startup. Day 8 from adding live sand. Day 4 from adding Dr. Tim's live bacteria. As you can see, the clarity is getting a lot better. Probably up till 3 to 4 days after adding the sand, the visibility was maybe 6 inches, if that. It's getting a lot better. But as you can see from the side, you can see the curtains on the other side, but the rocks on the other side are not crystal clear. But it is slowly getting better each day. ORP, which is a measure of the water quality, is slowly creeping up again. So started off with dead rock that was once live. But as you can see right now, there is no algae or anything growing on the rock, and the sand is still crystal clear. The ripples on the bottom of the sand are becoming more pronounced from the lights. It's telling me my water quality is getting better as well. So let's take a look at underneath the tank. Well, let's first start telling you a little bit about it. It's a 180 gallon reef tank. It's set up with a coast-to-coast overflow in the back. I can show you back here. So basically what that means is all across the back you have slits in the plexiglass that allows the water to flow over and into this hangover box in the back where the water will collect. At that point, as you can see, there is a strainer where most of the water flows through, and that's a 1.5 inch going out of the tank. And then we also have, I don't know if you can see it, but another 1.5 inch pipe there that's just skimming the surface of the water. That's really for the emergency overflow and also to skim the surface of the water. Then we have 2 returns going from the sump back into the tank. Each of those on each side of the tank. Not sure what this tape is here for. Each of those has 2 arms pushing water back into the tank, creating some flow back into the tank. So that's pretty much the back. Here we have the plumbing that I did for the tank. Again, we have the 2 lines. This one line here is connected to the return pump, pushing water back from the sump into the tank. It goes up into here, it tees off and goes on to the other side. I have a gate valve here that will allow me to control the flow going out of this side in case I want to adjust the flow one side compared to the other. Really it was just to get a starting point, and it probably won't change from there. I just wanted to get an equal flow on both sides, but I wasn't sure how much restriction this 1 inch PVC would have caused. Without the gate valve, most of the water would have probably come through these 2 outlets going back into the tank here, and very little on the other side. With this gate valve, I can shut it down some and then have equal amounts going to either side. As you see here, we have a second gate valve that allows me to shut that down, control the water that's going out of the main return back into the sump. Just allows me to get fine control on the water level here, so I can have it just skim the surface of that second pipe there. As you can see, that's the emergency overflow back there. Okay? On the top here, right now it's kind of just jerry-rigged until I get the cabinet guy who made my kitchen cabinets to complete the cabinetry for this. It's going to have a 9-inch canopy on top housing the lights and 4 doors on the bottom to cover the workings of the tank and make things a bit quieter. So here on top we have 3 Radion Pro Generation 3 lights, and then we also have 2 MP40 vortex pumps. That's a little hard to see on either side. Right now it looks like they're in constant mode. Yep. So now we look here under the tank. So starting off with the reverse osmosis system, I have this plumbed under the house into the kitchen sink, and the waste going into the kitchen sink as well. This RO system is plumbed, goes into my 9-gallon advanced acrylics reservoir here. That advanced acrylics reservoir has 2 float switches, one at the bottom, one at the top. When they both are at the bottom, and to show the tank is empty, it will trigger my Tunzi RO water controller to kick on the actuator valve here and allow water to flow into the reservoir, thereby filling up the reservoir. When the top valve, the top float switch is activated, it will turn off the actuator and stop the flow of water. So that will fill up every couple days. Again, that is connected to an Aqua lifter pump. That Aqua lifter pump, as you can see, going around here, goes in this line, which drips into the tank. That is controlled by the brain of the system. I have a Neptune Apex set up here. See, the Aqua lifter, I guess, is plugged into the power bar, so it knows that I have 2 float switches right now. I will have 3, but this float switch here, once the water level drops and activates the float switch, that'll send a signal to the Neptune Apex telling it to turn on the Aqua lifter pump, thereby filling the reservoir with fresh water until the float switch is activated in the up position, thereby telling the Apex system to turn off the Aqua lifter pump. This is repeated to replenish the fresh water that's evaporated from the tank. This second float switch that I have is a low position float switch. When it is triggered and closed, it will tell the brain of the system to turn off the main pump because I don't want it pumping on air and burning out, and it'll also turn off the 2 heaters because I don't need them to melt my acrylic sump if there is no water in the sump. Okay, on the left here I have the temperature probe. Again, that temperature probe is going to reach a certain point, tell the heaters to turn off and on based on the set points that I give it. On this side of my Life Reef sump, we have 3 probes. I have a conductivity probe, an ORP probe, and a pH probe. pH probe's gonna give me a constant reading of the pH of the water. The ORP probe, which is oxidation reduction potential, that'll give me some idea of how clean the water is. As organics and stuff build up in the water, ORP goes down, water quality goes down, so that'll just be an indicator. Not too worried about what the actual number is, just the direction it's going. Conductivity, that should be steady. Tells me that my system is topping off correctly and nothing's getting too concentrated. On this side I have my two heaters. They're titanium heaters. One using it as a backup. On each of the returns I have filter socks. That'll collect most of the crappy big particles. I'll change that out every few days to keep the water quality clear. Okay. I mentioned back here are the Vortec MP40 controllers. Right now, as you can see, they're both in constant mode, but they switch throughout the day. I can have them pulsing. I can have them doing random waves. Just great variety of control for water movement. Okay. Here we have a blue line Aqua pump. I think it's rated maybe 1,200 gallons or 1,400 gallons per hour. I actually have that cranked down a bit. Don't need all that water flow going through the system. Okay. On this side, in the sump, we have a Reef protein skimmer. Right now I have the water level cranked down pretty low from the top, just because right now it's a new tank. Water conditions are kind of iffy and it's producing a lot of wet foam. So as you can see on the top, it's really wet, but it is a greenish color. Smells like nasty seawater. Change that out every time either the cup gets too full or every couple of days if there's really good dark thick foam in there. Probably part of the reason all the foam is happening, aside from the water quality, the tank cycling and all that. Over here I have a bioreactor with Bio Pellets churning. This Bio Pellets will act as area for bacteria to grow on and to consume the nitrates and phosphates in the tank. That'll probably take about a month or so, a month to 6 weeks to actually get started working as it should. And lastly, over here we have a GHL dosing pump. There we go. GHL dosing pump. Right now I only have it dosing Kalkwasser, which is solution of calcium hydroxide into the tank. That's going to help me stabilize the pH and raise the alkalinity. Currently my pH is at 7.97. Yesterday I had it at 8.3, but it seems to be dropping over the course of the day. That's potentially due to all the bacteria in the tank doing their cycling stuff. I hear that's supposed to bring down the pH. So hopefully once that's all established, the pH will become more steady. So that's pretty much where we are right now. Got a few other reservoirs. I'll probably put the magnesium and then also either the calcium chloride or alkalinity, depending on which one I feel needs dosing. And that's pretty much it for day 8 of the 180 gallon Reef tank project. I will keep you posted. Monday comes around, I should be getting 5 micron and 1 micron sediment filter from Bulk Reef Supply. That's going to allow me to hopefully remove the large particulates that are still in the water floating around, causing a little bit of haze. At that point, they will probably last only a day or two each before they get clogged up, but they were only 250. So once those are depleted, I will replace that with activated carbon to help give me better water quality. Alright, YouTube, that is all for now. Thank you.